Yep, it's getting more and more interesting. I said yesterday that I don't see Red Bull winning. Yes, and it almost happened. I said I'm going to see a papaya, that's the McLaren, on the podium. I'm going to see a Ferrari on the podium. I was seeing two papayas, that's two McLarens on the podium. But one of the things that didn't work for the McLaren was Piastri getting out of position from second to fifth for his penalty for impeding Magnussen. Imagine he had been there. I'm telling you, Red Bull could not have won the race. That was my prediction, because I knew if they can jump him or they can give him a possible problem, that is going to be hit. He's going to, one way or the other, force his tire and lose to the Ferrari. But in all, I tell you, what a race in Imola. Ferrari been on podium in Imola since 2006. That was marvelous, and I can tell you this is the beginning of the new shape that F1 will be bringing, because these teams have gotten closer. The Red Bull are in problem, they know, because on Friday they were nowhere, but on Saturday I learned Sebastian Buemi acted as their reserve driver, that is the Formula E driver, was in their base in UK for 11 hours trying to get the best front end for them to be able to drive the car, because like I said, they were losing it up and down, and they were able to get it in qualifying, and they qualified better, and the qualifying gap was even tiny. It was less than 1/10 from first to third. That is how close it was, and the race was so close that they ended the race less than 7/10. Yes, that was how close they were. Now I'm going to give you a breakdown of how it happened and what will likely happen in the next few races, but it's going to be very interesting. Now, Piastri getting the 3 grid place penalty, starting behind the Ferraris, the Mercedes being splitted by Yuki Tsunoda, and Max Verstappen starting in front. Lando Norris got a very good start, but Max Verstappen was able to shove him behind, and he found it difficult for like 3 or 4 laps to create the gap, and he created the gap because he enjoyed the medium tires, while Lando Norris suffered on the medium tires. Maybe he pushed it too much on the first 5 to 6 laps, but he did enjoy the medium tires, but he was able to get himself away from the Ferrari behind him. That was Charles Leclerc. Also, his teammate, that's Oscar Piastri, was able to put Carlos Sainz under pressure for over 10-15 laps, was unable to get ahead of him. He did an undercut, and that gave him an advantage over the Ferrari. Not just one Ferrari, 2 Ferraris, but Charles Leclerc was able to dispose him from ahead of him, which gave him confidence. But McLaren are not just close, they are very close. The Ferrari are very close. I learned they are bringing some more upgrades. The upgrades they brought are not enough. All those teams need to look at their flaw. They need to concentrate on their flaw and the suspension. When they concentrate on flaw and suspension, hey, Red Bull 1A, you are in problem. I love what Red Bull did. Max Verstappen showed he's a great driver after competing in the 24-hour Le Mans, ran 3 races, one yesterday after qualifying and one today before the main race. It was great for him to be able to survive with less battery towards the end of the race. If there are 2 or 3 laps more, it would have been difficult for Lando Norris, and Lando Norris might have even overtaken, but it might have been difficult for him to hold the pace. But all in all, Max Verstappen showed the heart of a champion, and he really gave it all in the race. He showed that he's been winning championships, and this is not going to be taken away from him, and he gave his all. He tried and was able to hold position to come home winning. So, as I was saying, the first stint of the race was in favor of the Red Bull, but it's the difficult track to overtake. Sergio Perez suffered behind Yuki Tsunoda and Nico Hülkenberg. They gave him a fight of his life. The Haas is a very fast car on the straight line, so they gave him a fight of his life, and Daniel Ricciardo too was there giving him the jig. I want to be in that Red Bull seat next year. People are fighting for that Red Bull seat. That's how it is. Now, they gave him a fight for his life. His teammate was ahead there, trying to fight for his own championship, fight for his own life, and he was there. It was just it. The McLaren showed decent pace in the first stint of the race, but like I said, they suffered on the medium tires. But on second stint of the race, the car came alive on the hard tires, and they were able to pressurize the Red Bull. If Piastri had been able to overtake Leclerc, it would have been a good race for them. 2 papayas, that's 2 McLarens on the podium. The Ferrari gave a fight. They've improved, but a lot of people thought the upgrades they brought were so massive. Yeah, they brought 9 upgrades, but they are not so massive enough to change the course of their season yet. But I think it has brought them closer. On race pace, they are very close to Red Bull on race pace, but we can see now that on race pace, the McLarens are still the fastest. In Miami, they showed that. In Imola, they are showing that they are still the fastest on race pace. I know with some little tweaks and more upgrades coming in the pipeline, in qualifying, they will be ahead of Red Bull. It's going to be hard. If they're ahead of Red Bull in qualifying and on race pace, it's going to be hard. Monaco is coming next week, and Monaco is a position-based track. It's hard to overtake on Monaco, yeah, but in Formula E, it has shown that you can overtake in Monaco easily, but in Formula 1, it's very difficult, maybe because the cars are wider. But in Formula E, yeah, very easy. I think last year they had most overtakes in Formula E. So these good drivers can look at the Formula E and see what they can bring in to make it more interesting next week in Formula 1. But I think it's going to be a very, very, very interesting race next week. But for all, Lando Norris closed in. He got his tires warmed up, was able to close on Max Verstappen, but his inexperience also played in. Max Verstappen could have gotten a 5-second penalty, but I'm sure if McLaren still push, they might go and check the data and see maybe his track time should have been deleted more than 3 times. But it's left for them to check. But I think if they had gotten a 5-second time, that could have been the end of the race for Max Verstappen. But Lando Norris pushed him to the end of the race, made sure he was able to drive only on a driver's instinct, not on the car instinct. Like I've said, and most people, most professionals have said that, except the pundits that mostly they like overrating drivers, overrating their prowessness. I've said it that if Max Verstappen had been in another car, he wouldn't have won the championships he had won. I can tell you. But he showed the heart of a lion today, being a champion and pushing himself. It could have ended differently, but the 7/10 showed that these cars have closed up. Imagine Bahrain having over 22 seconds, and the times have been coming down, and this is showing that these teams are getting better. I wish Ferrari brings more updates. I wish McLaren bring more updates, and I hope Mercedes to bring more updates, because Mercedes is the most funniest team on the grid. This is showing how the race would already be, or how it has already been for this year. And when these upgrades come in, I want to see how close it will be. I want to see how Max Verstappen and Red Bull will be able to cope under pressure, because I know they are going to fall under pressure. And I know if drivers like Leclerc, Norris, Piastri, and even Carlos Sainz are able to put him under pressure, put the Red Bull under pressure, it might change the course of the season, because it's going to change very soon. Maybe not at the top, but around the drivers behind Max Verstappen, it might change very soon. And likely, if there are 2-3 wins in a row for maybe Leclerc or Lando Norris, the whole thing will change, because I can see already in Silverstone is not a Max Verstappen track already. This year he cannot win the race in Silverstone. Go and mark it down. In Silverstone is going to be a different race. McLaren are going to bring upgrades that will change the game. They still have upgrades in the pipeline, and Mercedes are going to bring upgrades that will change the game. Aston Martin are bring Aston Martin. Aston Martin might bring upgrade that will change the game, but Aston Martin with their upgrade, they are nowhere to be found. Alonso had to retire the car. Lance Stroll had to fight for 2 points. Well, Aston Martin, what had happened to Dow? But well, I think they can solve the situation, because they were fast at the beginning of the season, just like they had last year. But I don't know why they are just streaming down like a pack of cards, the way they are going down, even with upgrades they are bringing. I don't know what is wrong with Aston Martin. The VCAB have shown great progress, great progress for the VCAB, and they have really moved forward. They are showing progress, and they are really churning it out to make sure they get the best out of themselves. Williams today, a mistake on Albon's car, and they ruined Albon's race. He had to retire. Sargent's race was already ruined since yesterday. Starting 20th, it was already ruined yesterday. On the Alpine, I think Alpine did a decent job. They gave us pure entertainment, especially Esteban Ocon. He was driving very well. He did his part quite well in the race. Gave himself perfect race for him, but in the end, no points. To Nico Hülkenberg and Magnussen, as gave a good account of themselves. Yeah, it still shows they are not in the league of others. Though they brought upgrades, they are not in the league of the VCAB. But now we can see the VCAB, the Aston Martin, and the AS are almost in the same league, and I hope they are able to sort themselves out soon. All in all, McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari, great improvement to the Ferrari and McLaren team. Great improvement, and these 3 teams will be giving us positions jostling in the next few races, and it's going to be very interesting. And this might be one of the best seasons in the last 3 years, as it has started with a very silly season in the beginning of the year. It's going to be a very good season for us to watch and to enjoy all through the end of the year. There might be other videos coming in to analyze how things happened and what the upgrades really meant for the teams that brought upgrade, and how the upgrades have really pushed them forward and how it has not pushed them forward. And I'll also discuss how or what Red Bull need to do to keep ahead of the game, because they're already going down. The team is already losing advantage in front. It has come down from about over 22 seconds to about 0.7 seconds in a race, which shows it's really bunching up and closing up, and this season is going to be tough for them. It has to come down to drivers' instinct, drivers' professionality and experience, and also the ability to adapt. That's what to come down to. But congratulations to McLaren. Lando Norris, driver of the day. Lando Norris, great drive, could have had the back-to-back win. Max Verstappen, winner of the race. George Russell, fastest car on track for today, winning the extra point for the fastest lap of the race. And Mercedes fans, this is where Mercedes still is. They are nowhere close. 6th, 7th, 8th are still the best Mercedes can churn up for now, except Aston Martin brings more update and Fernando Alonso is flying. Maybe they will go down, but if they bring more upgrades, I wish Mercedes well because they've been a fantastic team. I wish they bring more upgrades so that they can still stay aloof or stay close to the Ferrari and the McLaren. But here they are the leaders of the midfield team. What a Mercedes. But up until the next video, I love you guys. Bye. Hope you enjoyed the race. Bye. Yeah.